But moving on and thinking about the Oklahoma Sooners and their future, do they have a brighter future? Because we've now come to an end. We've come to a close of the 2025 season. We're coming to a close of 2025 as a year and closing of 2024 season, moving forward into 2025. What is our future? What does the future look like? Because it's really hard to look at this as a glass half full with losing everything that we did in the transfer portal, losing all of the games that we lost. Looking at this season and how fast it went downhill faster than a bobsled on a downhill track, a very steep track at that. First off, starting off with losing to Tennessee, which was the first alarm of the season. The fact that, man, we lost that game and it felt like we really lost it by beating ourselves in a lot of ways with all of the turnovers, and with that loss, losing our starting quarterback and Jackson Arnold, losing him and then having to go to an unproven true freshman quarterback, and then moving forward with that quarterback with Michael Hawkins. That's not ever a good thing to have to do that mid-season. Sometimes it can turn into a good thing, but it's never a good thing in the movement, in the progress, in the process of moving over to this new quarterback, especially being a true freshman and being led by that true freshman, going to Texas and losing that Texas Red River rivalry in an embarrassing fashion. Just a completely embarrassing fashion without scoring a single touchdown. Being shut out for the second time in 3 years to Texas, that's unacceptable. And that was another terrible thing that happened to us this season. Now moving forward, we lost to South Carolina really due to the 3 turnovers in the first 3 drives of the game, turning into 21 very quick points where we were down 21-0 in the first quarter alone to South Carolina. And really all because of that move to that freshman quarterback. We were too stubborn to realized that it wasn't working with him in the prior 2 games. I know we won the Auburn game, but I didn't think he had a great Auburn game. I think he had a manageable Auburn game, and I think he did enough to help us win, but not anything more than what Jackson Arnold could have done, if not less than what Jackson Arnold could have done, and that's total speculation. But moving forward, that Texas game, I thought that was a game plan that would have worked well for Jackson Arnold. Jackson Arnold is successful under that type of game plan, what we ran there. Run first, take out the RPO, and run a lot of zone reads. I'm talking like a read option, something where the quarterback can run. We set those up a lot, and very quick passes, over the middle passes. That was something, losing to Texas and then moving forward into South Carolina, I still felt like now it's pretty proven that Michael Hawkins shouldn't be the starter right now. He's got talent, but he's just not ready for it. And of course, we lose that South Carolina game, a lot of it because of Michael Hawkins' 3 turnovers. I don't know how you get around that fact. And then Ole Miss, we're leading at halftime with momentum all in our favor. It's all on our side at this point. And we blow it. We can't run the ball to save our lives, and we just keep on giving away, the ball and putting the defense up against the wall, putting their backs up against the wall. So we lose the Ole Miss game, and then we lose the Missouri game after 3 stellar defensive quarters. The defensive play in those first 3 quarters were absolutely insane, and they were doing everything they could to just completely stop Missouri's offense. And then turnovers at crucial moments. And you can blame Jackson Arnold for the last turnover, I suppose. And it just, honestly, with that last turnover that led to a touchdown, scoop and score, we should have just taken a knee to go into overtime. Sound familiar? And then, of course, losing to, it felt a little better to beat Alabama and beating them the way that we did, shutting them out, not allowing a single touchdown all game long, stopping Jalen Milroe and winning that one as big as we did. But then we lose to LSU in the final game of the season where we could have just gone above 500 right there. And we could have kept ourselves away from a losing season right there. And instead we lose to LSU in an incredibly embarrassing fashion. The play calling, terrible. The performance on the field, terrible. Just everything about that game, nothing was going right. Chunk plays given up by the defense. The offense couldn't get anything rolling. Getting swallowed up in the backfield time and time again. And then, of course, losing in the bowl game really to an inferior opponent. I know Navy had a very good season, not taking anything away from them, but Oklahoma should win that game, especially after being up 14 points, 14-point lead in the first quarter. And then, of course, going on from the season and you look at the transfer portal, it's got some additions that really don't seem very exciting for Oklahoma fans. Most recently, we've got a tight end from Pittsburgh State. Carson Kent from Kennesaw State, who was a former walk-on at Kennesaw State. Wide receiver Keontae Lewis from Southern Illinois, wide receiver Giovanni Gibbs from Arkansas Pine Bluff. These are just names that don't sound exciting because the fans look at it and we don't see anything promising out of these guys unless you really look at the tape and try to piece something together there. The names don't sound exciting because they're not from a Power Four team, and I can understand that from a fan's perspective. That you look at these guys. And it feels like Oklahoma's just taking that Moneyball approach rather than trying to find a proven commodity going after diamonds in the rough. And it really feels like instead of taking sure talent that we know from big-time programs and they've gone against the opponents that we've gone against, we're going after kind of these smaller names. And a lot of that seems like maybe they can save an NIL money by taking these guys in. Maybe they're trying to get some guys that fit a certain criteria, a certain mindset, if you will. And the point is, with that Moneyball perspective, this is something that as fans, we're told we just have to trust the process. We have to wait and see. We really don't know how good all of this is going to work out until next season. And now the Sooners lose their defensive coordinator at the end of the season, and we're hoping, that a fairly new offensive coordinator who really doesn't have a whole lot on his record. He's kind of unproven. We're told just to expect him to come in here and fix this offense. And we're hopeful for it. I have faith in Ben Arbuckle. I think from what I've heard, from what I've seen, I trust him. I think he's a good guy. And then on top of that, bringing in John Mateer, who we think is going to be pretty good. But now we have to try to find faith in Brent Venables to make the correct next move. And what we've seen in the past is that he's kind of been declining and making those correct moves by bringing in Seth Luttrell. There's been certain things throughout the season, and the Jackson Arnold, Michael Hawkins situation, whether he handled that right, whether he handled letting Seth Luttrell go. Was that too early? Was it too late? Which most of us, I think, would say was too late. There's certain guys that got playing time that we were questioning why they were getting playing time, and specifically in the running back room, we're wondering why the running back room was so split in the way that, we've got guys that are performing and they're not on the field. We've got tight ends who we think would perform better and they're not on the field. There's all kinds of things that I think we have reason to doubt Brent Venables. And looking forward, we know one thing for certain. Brent Venables has to have a good season going into next season. Next season has to be a good season. He doesn't really have much else going for him. If he doesn't have a good season, us as Sooner fans kind of feel the writing is on the wall if that's the case. You have to look forward to it. This team, really expects, and they're really used to winning seasons. They're used to competing for championships. And as much as we say that the fans don't really matter in terms of choosing the head coach and whether the head coach stays, that's not the case. Fans do get to choose that just a little bit because fans are the ones giving their money, and they're not going to keep on giving their money to buying tickets and showing up and showing out as Sooner fans if we keep on going down this road. It's just a fact, and fans do die off because of losing seasons and too many of them. Brent Venables isn't lost to this either, and BV he's not really given us a whole lot other than his words to put faith in him as our head coach at Oklahoma. And I can understand that from Sooner fans. But here's some of the bright side to Brent Venables that I think a lot of us are still hanging on to him for. The reason why we hang on to Brent Venables and recognizing that, first of all, you can't tell me that the passion that he has for this game and for this program is totally unmatched. You can't tell me that it's not unmatched is what I should say. It is unmatched, unlike any other head coach that I've really seen in college football. He loves this program and this game, and he has a true competitive nature about him, and he really wants to win. You can tell that from the things he says. He's frustrated, just as frustrated as us as Sooner fans when we lose, and he takes it to heart even more because he knows that it falls on him, and he knows that he's got to make the right decisions, and he's trying. But from what I can tell, I know he's working tirelessly and trying to make the right moves, trying to make the right decisions and get things in order. And we also have to recognize as Oklahoma fans, as college football fans, that in today's college football world, a head coaching job has so much to focus on outside of what they used to have to focus on in years past. They have to do so much more in recruiting high school players, recruiting your own players when you get to the end and transfer portal era, because you can leave any year at any moment. There's no commitment. There's no contract that you have to stand by. On top of that, you have to get a game plan together each and every week. You have to be with your players and have all these different meetings and coaching meetings, as well as still recruiting those high school players during all of this, and then also talking to your players and trying to recruit them back before the transfer portal hits and they just throw their name in there. And then, of course, you have to even retain your own staff, which we're seeing, because the last 2 years we lost an offensive coordinator, and then we also lost a defensive coordinator. This year we lost both of them at once. I guess last year we did too, didn't we? Lost Ted Roof and Jeff Levy and trying to make things out of that. So you have to retain your own staff as a head coach. Then you have to answer the media for all of your duties and what areas you're lacking on, what areas you need to improve on, what areas you are improving on, the success and the failures. You have to do all of this and much more as a head coach, and I don't think we take that into perspective when calling for a head coach's name, calling for his job. But again, the reason why I list all of the failures from this past season is because I understand where you guys are coming from as Oklahoma fans, and it's easy to panic with all of this going on as an Oklahoma fan. But the sad part is that we just don't know. And the frustrating thing is that we just don't know. We don't know what's at stake. We don't know what the future holds. We don't really know where we're going after this. And so ultimately we just have to wait. We don't know what's going to happen until August 30th to start the next 2025 season. Hey Sooner fans, did you enjoy this video? Well, go ahead and hit that like button and go ahead and hit that subscribe button. What are you doing if you've made it this far and haven't already? You should be able to find that subscribe button over here. And then if you want to see full episodes, we've got those up here and clips right down here. So go check that out. But we thank you all so much for all the love, all the support. We'll catch you next time. Boomer.